The 6th generation of game might be my favorite generation ever. Today we're only really going to be talking about the big three: Xbox, PlayStation, and Nintendo. We're not really going to touch into too many other things, but before I get into those, I feel the need to talk about the Sega Dreamcast. This marks the last Sega home console, and honestly it makes me kind of sad. Rest in peace to Sega. This console still has a pretty big cult following these days. I feel like there's a reason why people still love that console. For its time, the Dreamcast is actually pretty innovative, and I'm honestly impressed by it still to this day. It had a pretty solid library of games. I mean, it had games like Sonic Adventure, Shenmue, Jet Set Radio, and Seaman. I mean, eventually these games did find a new home for the most part. It's just always sad when a company has to drop out of the console market. Who knows, maybe it'll happen again in a few years. I don't really know. Time will tell as we move more into a digital age of streaming games. Maybe there'll be less console on the market. Who really knows, but I think that's something that we're gonna have to tackle when it does happen. Alright, that's out of the way. Let's get to the big three. The 5th generation was absolutely dominated by PlayStation. If you want to know more about the 5th generation, I did do a video about that like 2 years ago or something, but this domination must have struck a nerve or inspired Microsoft because, well, they made the Xbox. The Xbox was the one console that I didn't grow up with from this generation. Honestly, I found myself jealous of the Xbox players, but it was for one thing in particular. Jesus Christ, Halo. Sure, the Xbox had some other stuff, but I could not give less of a fuck because Master Chief is a bad motherfucker. Jesus Christ, they had some big green tanky dude annihilating anyone that comes into his path. What was there not to love about it? I think Halo Combat Evolved is one of the most important shooters of all time, really. I mean, you can still feel the feel of the game in modern shooters and how it influenced it today, and there's a reason why Halo is so popular and infamous now, and I can guarantee you it is not the modern Halo games, but it's what the classics and what they created and how incredible they were. Halo Combat Evolved specifically on the Xbox, I think is one of the best shooters of all time, and without it, who knows if the Xbox and Microsoft would have even succeeded with that console. There's a reason why the PS2 is the best-selling console of all time and has an incredible following. It's because it fucks! This might make me sound old, but the fact that it was a DVD player along with the home console, it was cheaper than the rest of the DVD players on the market, it's no surprise that this thing succeeded. I think the PS2 also has one of the best library of games ever seen on a console, and I think it's only really rivaled by the PS4. But what exactly did it have? I think it has one of the best gaming libraries of all time, and honestly, it's probably only rivaled by the PS4. But this console had so much shit. They put their whole meat in this console, bro. This is the generation where God of War, Jak and Daxter, Ratchet and Clank, and Sly Cooper came to be. And I'd give my whole sphincter to get Jak and Sly Cooper back. And that's not even mentioning some of the third-party games that this had. I think the third-party games this generation are probably the best we've ever had. And I know some of these games were on other consoles as well, but you can't talk about the PS2 without talking about some of these games. This fucking console had 3 GTA games on it. To put that in perspective, this year marks the 10-year anniversary for GTA 5, and we're still playing it. Some still consider San Andreas to be the best GTA game, and whether you agree with it or not, I don't. It's still such an outstanding game, and you can still feel its presence to this day in some of these big open-world games. Then you have games like the SmackDown series, and honestly, still probably some of the best wrestling games of all time. You know damn well 2K ain't topping that shit. These games had more of an arcadey feel rather than the simulation we see nowadays, and honestly, I wish we can go back to the arcade feels. Hopefully AEW Fight Forever can do that for us, but we'll have to see with that in the future. Guitar Hero also started this generation, and Jesus Christ, I still love it. People went absolutely insane over that series, but I don't think I can do it enough justice in a video like this. I think I'll have to do that another time. This generation introduced the Tony Hawk Underground series, and honestly, Tony Hawk Underground might be the best skateboarding game of all time. This game changed how the subgenre of skate games even worked in general, and honestly, I wish there were more games like it today. PS2 just had so much going for it, and honestly, it's one of, if not the best consoles ever created. And I'm sure there's a lot of people that would agree with me when I say that. But now that we're done talking about one of the best consoles ever made, let's talk about what's, in my opinion, one of the most underrated consoles ever talked about. The Nintendo GameCube. What a design. They put a fucking handle in it just in case I wanted to walk in the park with it. This controller doesn't have a goddamn glizzy sticking down the center of the controller, thank God. And it is still definitely a weird looking controller, but honestly, It's one of the best I've ever used. No, I even still use this old fucker for games like Smash and Mario Kart. I refuse to use anything else for it. Nintendo went absolutely balls to the walls with the first party releases on this console. This is where we actually saw the introduction of Luigi's Mansion and Animal Crossing. And while Animal Crossing on the GameCube isn't as good as the later entries in the series, I still think Luigi's Mansion on the GameCube is the best in the series. If this game made the best in the series, then it's definitely in the top 3 of that series. Mario Kart Double Dash. It's my personal favorite, and honestly, I'm still clamoring for either a remaster or even a game mode in a future Mario Kart game. I love beating the shit out of people with Donkey Kong riding on the back. I fucking love violence. Speaking of violence, Super Smash Bros. Melee. There's honestly not enough praise that I could give this game. It made me want to beat the shit out of my friends. Arguably one of the best fighting games of all time, and there's a reason why it still has a huge following and player base. It's cause it fucks. Again, this is another game where I don't know if I can do it enough justice in a video like this. I might have to do a whole video on the series of Smash. Maybe I'll do that, let me know. All the Mario Party games on this console went absolutely fucking bonkers. The Mario Party games on the GameCube made me want to go feral numerous times. I had so many intrusive thoughts of wanting to hit the people's elbow on my friends after playing this shit. Fuck you, Derek. This console also introduced a brand new genre to the Metroid series, being a first-person shooter with Metroid Prime. The controls are whack as fuck, I'm not gonna lie to you, but fuck me, that game is good. I still think Metroid Prime 1's my favorite Metroid game I've ever played, up there with Super Metroid on the SNES. Let's just say I cannot fucking wait for Metroid Prime 4 on the Switch. There's just so many outstanding games on this console, but it got dominated by the PS2. It's a shame that more people didn't get to play games like Mario Sunshine, Kirby's Air Ride, F-Zero GX, Wind Waker, and of course the greatest game of all time, Donkey Konga, and of course the WWE Day of Reckoning games on this console. I like beating the shit out of the referee and making him hit me with the Stone Cold Stunner. I must have hundreds and hundreds of hours playing this game with Derek, and I think that's another wrestling game that can be beat by the modern games. The 6th generation of gaming has me bricked the fuck up. It really might be my favorite generation ever. Games of such high quality were able to be pumped out back then because the production of games were just easier back then. I mean, think about it. We had 6 Ratchet & Clank games on the PS2. Fuck me. We did not know how good that we had it back then. There were really 3 GTA games that generation. We've been playing GTA 5 for 3 generations.